Have you ever paid your child to do chores, only to hear them say, "How much will you pay me next time when I wash more dishes?" Or maybe you have avoided talking about money, thinking they're too young to understand, only to realize they have picked up bad spending habits from somewhere else. As parents, we all want to teach our kids good money habits, right? But sometimes, even with the best intention, we might be sending the wrong messages. Welcome back to the fourth video in my series on teaching kids about finance. In the previous video, I shared 5 essential money skills every child should learn to build a strong financial foundation. Today, we are focusing on what not to do, the 3 biggest mistakes parents make when teaching finance to their kids. These mistakes may seem small, but they can shape how your child feels and manages money for years to come. I'll also share some real-life examples of how these mistakes can impact your child, as well as practical tips you can use right away. So let's dive in. Mistake number 1, paying for chores. When kids are paid for chores, they may start calculating the worth of every task. Instead of seeing chores as a responsibility, they begin to expect payment for every contribution. I remember a friend from my childhood who refused to do chores unless her parents paid her. She got so used to being paid for everything that she wouldn't help out without compensation. This mindset turns chores into transactions instead of being part of the family teamwork. Chores aren't just about tasks, they teach teamwork and responsibility. Now you imagine your kids grow up and they start their own families. Their partner asks for help with housework. If your kids have been paid for chores their whole life, they may see it as a transactional thing instead of contributing out of love and care. Now, what you can do is you must explain to your kids that earning money is important, but chores are about contributing to the family. It's not something they should expect to be paid for. And it helps them learn teamwork and responsibility. Instead of paying for chores, what you can do better is you can encourage your kids to do some external money-making activities. Let's say, if your child has outgrown clothes or used toys, you can guide them to sell these online, which also teach them about recycling and earning. For all the kids, you can encourage them to provide services like washing cars, babysitting, or helping neighbors with small tasks. These experiences build entrepreneurial skills. And for the kids who love gaming, you can also explore some responsible play-to-earn platforms where they can monetize their skills in a safe and productive way. Mistake number 2, avoiding financial conversations. Many parents think kids are too young to understand finance, but avoiding financial conversations can make money a taboo subject in the future. I know some parents who avoid discussing money because they thought it was too stressful or difficult for their kids to understand. Later, these same kids struggle with basic budgeting because they were never exposed to these conversations. So as parents, what you can do instead, you can start with age-appropriate conversations. Let's say for younger kids under 8, you can explain topics like where money comes from, that sort of things. Let's say, Mom and Dad work very hard so that we can make money to buy food, clothes, toys, that sort of things. For older kids who are aged between 8 and 16, you can discuss family budgeting. Like myself, I use a simple Excel sheet to track our monthly expenses, and I'll show it to my kids so they will understand how a household runs and how money flows in and out, that sort of things. You can even make these conversations more practical and interactive. Let's say you guys are out for grocery shopping. You can involve your kids by letting them compare prices between brands or choose the best value option. These can help your kids to put what they have learned into real-life practice. Mistake number 3, focusing on perfection. Expecting kids to handle money perfectly can put unnecessary pressure on them and discourage experimentation. I once heard about a mom who shouted at her son for spending all his allowance on video games. Instead of learning from the mistakes, the boy became defensive and started spending his allowance on smaller and cheaper items, just to avoid criticism. His mom still complained, but her approach discouraged him from learning to manage his money responsibly. So what we can do as parents instead is we can encourage our kids to have trial and errors. For younger kids, let them make small impulsive purchases and remember to ask this question. How do you feel about that decision? Like my son, when he was around 5 years old, he once spent all his savings, which was about 3,000 Hong Kong dollars, on a massive Lego set. At first, it felt like a mistake because he was broke and couldn't afford anything else meaningful afterwards. However, this experience taught him an important lesson. Also, he recently realized that the same Lego set becomes a retired product, which means it's no longer in production. As a result, the price is increased in value due to high demand and low supply. Now, my son, at just 10 years old, is actively researching which Lego sets might be good investment in the future. Like he has to study, research, and learn so much so that he can make a better choice if he wants to invest in Lego. What I want to highlight here is that even a mistake can turn into a valuable lesson for your kids. When kids are given the freedom to reflect and learn from their experiences, they can develop important skills like self-awareness, strategic thinking when it comes to finance. For older kids, you can give them a larger budget for a specific event. Let's say planning for a trip, a family dinner, birthday party, something like that. Let your older kid make choices and afterwards review what worked and what didn't. This helps them reflect and refine their decision-making skills. Also, one thing I want to mention is don't forget to share your own financial mistakes. Like myself, I've told my kids about how I mistrusted someone when I was 25 and I lost all of my savings. Sharing these stories helps your kids understand that mistakes are part of the learning journey as long as we learned and grow from them. Remember, teaching kids about money is a journey, and avoiding these 3 mistakes can make all the difference. It's not about perfection, it's about helping your kids build good habits and develop confidence with their finance. If you found this video useful, you can like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comment what's one financial mistake you wish you'd avoid. Your story could inspire other parents. Alright, bye for now. See you next week.